Hey guys, here it is, another video. This is a video on actually turning an acrylic blank. So I wish I had better intro skills, but this video editing is still all new to me, and I don't think honestly that I'm going to be able to edit on the iPad for much longer, because these apps are not very user-friendly to me. And anyway, I'm fighting and struggling with the editing portion, so I'm going to have to probably do it on a computer. But wanted to give you an introduction to turning a pen blank using acrylic. So here I'm carving. I've already carved it to a rough cylinder shape, but now I'm actually putting the hourglass shape into the body. Still turning on a very high speed, but using a carbide tool and being very gradual with my turning, so as to not chew too much of it away. Also want to be careful when you're turning these acrylics to make sure that you're looking at the body of the acrylic and not shaving away all of your color or pattern in it. So this one did not have as much black in it as I had hoped for, but it did turn out really nice in the end, you'll see. But here we'll go with some shaping. I'm measuring it out, making sure that it's kind of proportional and they're roughly the same, using calipers. So got the shape in. Now I'm getting ready to do the sanding using micro mesh pads. I've kind of eliminated that part. Here I'm showing you that I went through with polishing and got it all sanded out, polished out. It's looking good. So it's pretty much a blank that's ready to go. So I don't know if these clips ended up moving around a little bit, so pardon me if you see me doing the same thing over and over again. Hopefully not. Reposition the camera a little bit so you guys can get a better view. Oh yeah, so here I'm using the high-speed polish. This is a Hut product. You've seen it in prior videos. I'm still turning at a fairly fast rate. This speed is probably around 1600. Got it all polished out at lights heat. So here it's all polished out. I'm actually using a pen press kit for the lathe. I don't like using an individual pen press because it's just one more piece of equipment that's really only good for that. So these little inserts are kind of a hard neoprene plastic type thing. They have a little bit of give to them. Here I'm squaring up the end of the blank where I might have had some glue. It's called cyanoacrylate. You put it on with a paper towel and then polish it out with the micro mesh, but when you get done it kind of leaves a little hangover on the ends by the brass tube. So I'm just squaring those up so that when I get ready to press the pen kit in, it'll be nice and smooth with no gaps. So you just kind of go in a figure 8 pattern on the sandpaper. Here I believe I'm using either 220 or 320 grit. It's a wet dry, and it'll smooth it out just using small figure 8s so you don't get off center. It's nice and square to the brass tube that's down the middle of the acrylic. I'll go into more details about some of this stuff along the way in future videos. Even though it's pen making in a fairly short process overall, if I got in depth with every single part, this video would be probably 2 hours long, as it really slows you down taking a video and trying to explain what you're doing. I was talking in the background of the video, but it was really, really low, and I've got a fan. I live in Florida, so this garage gets pretty hot, and that fan kind of drowned out what I was trying to get at. So I just figured I'd do an audio over the top of the video and see how that turned out for you. So here I'm fitting in my bushings to make sure that these are the turning bushings actually, but I'm reinserting them into the pen because they gauge the end size of your blank to make sure that it fits the size of the accessories that you're pressing in there for the pen kit. So I'm just making sure I'm not overhanging and there's no lip on the acrylic blank. If there was, I'd need to put that back in and sand it back down. I believe then this one it turned out pretty good. A nice good margin in between the bushing and the pen blank with no extra glue hanging on to the end. So this pen blank is pretty much ready to go. It's really kind of talking here about positioning, the coloring that lies within the blank, so positioning the pen kit when you put it together and press it in, because you want to be careful, you know, that some of the coloring is not going to be hidden by your fingers or by the pen clip when you assemble it. So that's kind of what I'm pointing out here. Just be careful when you're assembling that you've still got your coloring showing the way that you want it. So sometimes when you put the clip in, you think that that's going to cover up something you don't want to see, but on the other hand, depending on where you have it positioned on the tube, it can also mean that the coloring that you want is actually on the back of the pen. Most people write with the clip facing outward, so you want to be careful with that placement. So these accessories that you see here, I think I talked about them here a minute ago, but those black accessories that you see in the lathe are made for pressing the pen together. It allows you to use the screw function of the tailstock so that you get really minute adjustments and pressure that you're putting on, making sure that everything is square as you're aligning it in there. Pen presses themselves are really only designed for pens. They're not really designed for anything else. So here I just have a couple of accessories to put in a toolbox versus a whole pen press that's taking up shelf space. Trying to be careful in a two-car garage. So here you can see me making minor adjustments, turning the blank. I'm actually pressing one of the pieces of the pen kit into the brass tubes. And you can see using the screw function on the end of the tailstock does allow you to get really minute pressures put on that and adjustments as you're turning it in there. Sometimes you got to move it around to get it nice and flat and square to the brass. Sorry guys, some of these transitions are a little wonky. I didn't know how to place them accurately, but I wanted to get the video out. So here I'm lining up the pen clip and trying to get that placed in there in such a way that I've got the color showing the way that I want it and not hidden on the back side of the pen when you're using it to write with. So sometimes it means laying the clip over the coloring just so that it's facing outwards, because the back of this pen is very white and doesn't have much marbling to it. So that'll be the part resting up against your hand once it's all pressed together. This clip is separate from the end cap, so it's a little finicky trying to get it pressed together, but use your patience. Again, using minute adjustments on the tailstock help you get that pressed in nice and smooth, positioned where you want it. So here, guys, I've got the pen all assembled, pressed together, and I'm talking a little bit about the cartridge. Most of these pen kits take a pretty standard cartridge. So this one here I think is a .5 rollerball. Pretty good size. It's a good size cartridge for this particular pen kit. This is a Penn State Industries Rollester pen kit. Came in a 4-pack. I talked a little bit about that in the other video. Probably a lot about that in the other video. But anyway, talking about the finishes here being chrome and chrome on this particular pen kit or assembled kit. It looks really good with the white marbled. So the cartridge refill on this is readily available. As I said, it's a good size, so it's not going to wear out too soon on you. Some of the pen kits, I did a kaleidoscope pen kit. That kaleidoscope, you'll see it on the Instagram page, that it's red pen with a kaleidoscope in the end of it. That pen kit, while great looking and very heavy, so it felt good, the cartridge on that is really tiny, not only in length because of the kaleidoscope, but it's really a thin. So that pen is neat and unique, but it is actually more just for decoration. It's not going to be very useful on a day-to-day because you'll wear the ink cartridge out pretty quick. So here I'm just showing how it looks assembled with this has a click cap. So it's not a click pen, it's just a click cap, and the cap goes on either end. And it looks really good when it's all assembled up. This one I chose the chrome and chrome with a black cap just to kind of match the black coloring that's in the acrylic plank. So this turned out really clean. So I know this video didn't go very far in depth, but hopefully along the way these will get better in quality, number one, but as you're watching this video, maybe it'll give you the inspiration to go out and try something like this. So we've covered this a little bit before, but this lathe is a couple $100. The acrylics are anywhere from 5 to say 8 or 9 for a pen kit. The pen kit itself on this one is, I believe, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 to $15 if you're buying it individually. But I bought this in a 4-pack. I think they were $35 or $38 maybe shipped to my house. So, you know, all in this pen, I probably got 20 bucks in it, maybe a little more. And the lathe, I've got a couple $100 in it. The turning tool, I've got about $100 and a good carbide tool. And miscellaneous sandpapers and discs, you know, probably another 15-20 bucks. But those things are usable over and over again. These calipers I've had forever, so I don't even know the price on those. They were given to me by a tool and die, my father-in-law, tool and die guy. So a lot of this tools you guys probably already have. Some you'll have to go out and pick up. Given the fact that this is pen kit making, there's plenty of resources out there. Turner's Warehouse, Woodcraft, Penn State Industries is a good manufacturer of pen kits. Wood River, which is a Woodcraft brand, that's another good set. I've really only tried a few manufacturers. As far as tools go, you can certainly pick up these lathes at Rockler. For the Excelsior brand, they've got many others too, but as far as inexpensive, short, little lathes, this is overboard for just making pens, but eventually I'd like to do some other things, bowls and what have you. So highly recommend the extension on the lathe. That gets you out to about a 38-inch center to center on your lathe, so you can turn out bigger items such as table legs. This will allow you, this particular lathe being Excelsior will allow you to go up to a 10-inch throw, so 10-inch wide bowl or so, so 5 inches on either side of center. This lathe is a 1/2 horsepower, and in order to change the speeds, you do have to change the positioning of the belt. You can see that in some of the video where you see the different size pulleys. There are some kits out there. I think Penn State Industries might actually have a kit. One of them does. But anyway, there's a kit out there to change this to a 3/4 horse. I don't really need the extra size right now for the motor, but the other thing that it gives you is a variable speed knob. So instead of changing the belts around, which you still have to do to get, but you still have to do to some extent, but they're bigger speed ranges, and then there's just a knob that you turn to dial within that speed range. So I might do if I ever buy one of those, I'll do a video on it so you guys can see what it took to convert it. It's really quite simple, I understand, but I'll do a different segment on it. So trying not to make this too long-winded. It's probably going to end up being a 20-minute video or so, but hopefully it's in depth enough to give you an idea what it takes to do this process, some of the struggles that you might deal with, like on this particular acrylic, dealing with the lack of coloring throughout it. It's more white than it is black, but it turned out really good in the end. Also showing you some tips and tricks. Make these pens turn out good. Again, this is an acrylic pen, and you could polish it off with just the acrylic, just sanding the acrylic down and then buffing it. But I do prefer to use what's called CA glue. As I said, cyanoacrylate. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but you apply it and then you, with a thin paper towel, and then spray it with an activator. It sets it and then also makes it flow out a little bit. And you come back and sand it again with your micro mesh, as I said, and it really polishes up nice after you hit it with a little bit of the Hut micro polish, or high-speed polish. So hope this video was something that you liked, guys. Again, if you did and you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. If you hit the like button, it helps get this video out to a broader audience. Hopefully the quality again will improve on the recordings, and I won't bore you guys to tears with that part, but maybe someday I'll do a separate video on what I've learned with different applications for editing and things like that. I think the positioning on the camera and the setup would work a little bit better. I'm going to have to do something different with audio. I am using a GoPro Hero 7 on this one. It works really well. It's very clear. I did have to increase the size of the SD card that was within it, because this video ended up being about 6 different videos kind of chunked together. So I did keep running out of space, so I'll get a bigger SD card. And the other thing that I noticed too with the GoPro is that the microphone on it is weak at best. So probably going to have to either get an external mic or continuing to do audio recordings over the top of the video, which you don't really care for. It just takes longer to get them edited down. So I appreciate you guys turning in. Just a couple more minutes left of the video, and again, hopefully it's something that you liked and it was informative. I had some advice from a good family member to try and avoid acronyms or jargon, and he's completely right. I've watched videos in the past where that kind of has bored you to tears because you don't know what it is that they're talking about. So hopefully I didn't do that in this case, but comments are on, guys. So if you got a comment to share, I just ask you please avoid anything negative other than maybe some constructive criticism about something you'd like to see me do different. If you have any recommendations on video editing, if you're familiar with any of that, you can drop that down below too. I'm kind of toying around with Mac or a new Windows computer. I've got a computer right now. I thought about just changing out the hard drive to get some more speed out of it. It doesn't work very well right now. So if you've got any experience with any of that, I appreciate any recommendations that you might be able to give me. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. This is a fun project, and I had a little bit of fun making the video, even with the struggles. So hang in there, guys. It'll get better. I appreciate your time and every single one of you that's tuned into this point. So have a great day, guys, and go turn something.